Hi everyone, it's Laura. Welcome back to my channel. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. I would love to have you here on my channel. So today I am filming my favorite Christmas movies that I love, and usually I'm very picky when it comes to movies, so I don't necessarily like every movie that's out there, but these movies that I'm going to mention have something special and I love to watch them every Christmas. And so these films are animated. I have ones that are live action, so like with real people acting. I also included ones for adults, I think either 2 or 3 that are for adults, because sometimes you don't want to watch something with Santa Claus and elves, you want something like more appropriate for our age. And then I also included one Netflix original that came out this year, because I know how everybody loves Netflix. That's like the thing that's on trend now. And so I also included one, and I think that's it. And so I would love to know, what are your recommendations? If you see a movie that I didn't mention, I would love for you to comment it down below. And so without further ado, let's get on with this video. So just an FYI, these movies are not in any particular order. That would be too hard. I love all of these movies equally. So the first movie I'm going to mention is Arthur's Christmas. Arthur's Christmas, I don't really hear a lot of people talk about it, so that's why I wanted to mention it first. But Arthur's Christmas, I love this movie so much. It is funny. I mean, it has probably like everything that you would like in a movie. It is animated, and so it's about how Arthur, he is Santa Claus' youngest son, and he actually is a little clumsy, like he's everywhere. They like to keep him apart from like the main action of what's going on with the toys, and it's very like high tech. So he does have an older brother who is actually more involved in all the Christmas stuff, about the presents and having everything on time. But the thing is that Arthur, he is more devoted in what the Christmas spirit is about. He actually answers to every letter that gets to the North Pole from kids, so he actually does really care. So he has a big heart, and something happens, so they forget actually one child's present, and so that's like what the whole movie is about. So Arthur is actually the only one that actually does really care about that last little girl who doesn't get her present. So that's what the movie is about. So I really do recommend it, and I love that it compares the old fashioned with the new like high tech stuff that's going on, because the great grandfather, he is Santa Claus as well from like the past, and so he goes with his grandpa on this journey, but they use like the old-fashioned sleigh and things like that. So it's just like really nice to compare how things were in the past, and not necessarily what you have to use with now, that's with the actual technology. So I just really like that. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say, and so we'll get on to the next movie. So The Polar Express is probably one of my favorite movies since I was a child. I actually did see this movie when it came out in movie theaters, and I've loved it ever since, and I've probably watched it, I don't know, I probably lost count, like more than 50, 100 times probably. So this movie has a great message for kids and for adults, and that message has stuck with me ever since, and it's that you have to believe, you have to be a true believer. So basically this movie is about this little boy who does not believe in Christmas, he does not believe in Santa Claus, he does not believe in the North Pole. And on Christmas Eve, the Polar Express comes and he gets on the train. When he gets on the train, he meets other kids, and you don't really know in the beginning of the movie, but at the end you realize that each and every one of these kids have a flaw or like a problem. The main boy his problem is that he's not a believer. So during the journey towards the North Pole, they do learn their lesson and they improve. And so I just love the message of this movie. Like I said, it's for kids and for adults, because it teaches you that as you grow, you stop believing, and it's really true. So I actually do want to include one thing about the animation, and just because I like to appreciate the hard work that the producers and like the people have to do to make this movie, it has great animation. Like, if you haven't noticed, watch it. You can probably like notice like each and every strand of the hairs that the little characters have. Like when the wind blows it looks so real. The facial features, like you can actually see like the water in their eyes. It's just crazy. That's everything about this movie. So I really do recommend, if you haven't watched it, watch it. I know you will love this movie. Rise of the Guardians is probably one of the movies that I like watching all year round. So who are the Guardians? It's the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, Sandman, the Tooth Fairy. And so they actually have to go get Jack Frost, and he becomes a guardian. So Jack Frost doesn't understand why he should be a guardian, and it's because Pitch Black, so the boogeyman, he gains a lot of power, and the only one that actually isn't equal to his power is Jack Frost. And I love this movie because it shows you another side of Jack Frost. So usually Jack Frost is portrayed as being mean, like cold, he doesn't care, and like he likes pulling tricks and stuff like that, and that is true. But in this movie it shows you how Jack Frost actually became Jack Frost, and it shows you a side of him, of his feelings and how lonely he is, and he discovers things about himself. And I just really love this movie. Like I said, it has all of the characters, the Easter Bunny and all this, and they have to work together to defeat Pitch Black. I have my notes here. And it's also nice because they get to work with kids, and it's about the true believers, and I just love this movie in general. So I really do recommend this movie, Rise of the Guardians. So the next movie is basically kind of similar to Rise of the Guardians. It's about Jack Frost, and it portrays Jack Frost as a human. So Jack Frost is a dad who's a rocker, but because he goes on tour and all this stuff with his rock band, he abandons his wife and his son a lot. So it's kind of like a problem or a conflict between them, and eventually he has an accident and he dies. But his son and his wife, the kid's mom, stays behind, and a year later he plays his dad's harmonica, and some magic thing happens, and the dad, Jack Frost, comes back as a snowman. So it's really silly, and it's really heartwarming, and it's really nice to see how he tries to get closer to his son now that he is back, and it's just really nice. So, and it's funny because they go like on little adventures, and with how they don't want him to melt and stuff like that. So I really do recommend this movie, and it's another side of Jack Frost as well. So Edward Scissorhands, my god, this movie is probably like the best movie that's from the past, or like a little older. I love this movie so much. I think it could be for Halloween, but I just love it for Christmas because the setting of the movie is during Christmas time. If you haven't watched it, I don't want to spoil it too much. I'll just give like a quick summary. I know some of these like newer viewers are younger kids. They haven't seen these old movies, but I really do recommend this movie. My niece, she's like 12 now, and I've showed these movies to her and she loves them. So if you are young, I do recommend this movie so much. It's with Johnny Depp. So it's about this robot that he is created up in a castle, but his creator dies before he finishes making him. So instead of having hands, he has scissors, and he stays like this. So one day, an Avon sales lady, she goes up to the castle to offer some Avon, and she sees Edward and she brings him home. But Edward is like a little kid. He doesn't really know like the true bad feelings of people, like the intentions. So he's like very innocent. That's the word, innocent. So I love this movie because there's a certain scene when it's Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, I don't remember, when he's sculpting ice with his scissors, and the lady's daughter, he falls in love with her when she walks out and it looks like it's snowing, and it's just so magical how she's dancing in the snowflakes. And I just love that scene so much, and the music, and it's just, I love that part so much. And so then at the end, something bad happens and he has to flee back to the castle, and it's just really sad because he was really, really nice and kind, and just people could be just so mean, you know. And so I really do recommend this movie. And it's really, really sad because at the end, you hear her say, the girl, when she's older, she's telling the story to her grandkids, and she says that it wouldn't be snowing if it wasn't for Edward. So that's how she knows Edward is still up in the castle. But because before Edward came down, or before she met him, it never snowed. So that's just very sad, because I wish they would be together, or they had stayed together. But I just really recommend that movie so. So the Miracle on 34th Street that I'm talking about is with the little girl named Matilda, and it's actually like colored. I know there's like an old one that's black and white. I haven't watched that one. But this movie starts with a Thanksgiving parade, you know, the Macy's Thanksgiving parade. So it's set it in New York City, so that's why I love this movie so much. And then it goes on with Christmas. So the little girl actually meets the actual Santa Claus, but she doesn't believe because her mother doesn't believe. And it's just a really nice story, but something happens and Santa Claus gets arrested. So there is a lawyer that tries to defend the Santa Claus, which is a very hard task to do, especially with, you know, the businessmen and like hardcore Manhattan, where there are all of these people that do not believe in Christmas. So it's basically a trial, like Christmas on trial. And so it's really hard to justify Santa Claus and Christmas and like all of this magical stuff that they think that does not exist. So I just love this movie so much, and I do recommend this movie. I recommend all these movies, obviously, but yeah, it's really nice because they actually do find a way to prove or justify the Santa Claus and Christmas. Have you heard the Little Drummer Boy song? I love that song so much, and it's probably the reason why I love this movie. It is a shorter film, and it is kind of like the claymation ones, you know, the clay ones. And so this movie is about an orphan boy. So bad things keep happening to him. His mom and dad were killed, and then something happens to his sheep, and he has so much hate in his heart because of all the things that have happened. But on his journey, it crosses with Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus, and so he wants baby Jesus to make a miracle in keeping his sheep alive. But the only way that he is able to do that is if he stops hating, if he loves. And so, you know, he finds a way to do that. And so it's just really nice because the only thing that he has is his drum. That's why he's the little drummer boy. So when he meets Jesus, baby Jesus that he was just born, he plays a little song for him, because that's basically the only thing that he can gift to baby Jesus because he's poor. And that just is just so heartwarming to me. And I don't know, like every time I think about the song, it makes me cry, honestly, because Jesus wants you pure in the heart. It's not about the gifts or anything. It's just about the love and the family. And I just love this movie so much, and I recommend it. Okay, so let me stop getting teary. And so the next movie is Elf. And so Elf, you probably watched this movie a lot of times already. So it is very funny. It's about this little boy who is in a orphanage, and he gets into Santa Claus's gift sack. So he gets transported to the North Pole. So when they discover him, he actually stays there in the North Pole with Santa Claus and all the elves. So that's where he grows, and he later starts noticing that he does not fit in. He is not a good elf, you know, because elves are really good at making toys, and he's probably like not good at anything. So that's when he realizes that he is not a elf, and he goes to New York to meet his actual dad. So when he goes to New York, he, you know, he's an actual elf to them and in his mind. And he just does like very funny things, because come on, like, do you imagine this happening in the real world? So that's what happens. And so he meets a girl and he falls in love, and then the Christmas spirit is going down, and Santa Claus goes to Manhattan to find him, I guess, and they have to make everybody believe, and it's just really, really funny. I have my notes here. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this movie. So it's just basically about the spirit of Christmas, and it's funny because it has like shots of New York 1, and like he just does so many funny things. He loves like candy on everything. And oh, that's it. I'll just leave it at that. This movie is placed or set it before the actual Pinocchio Disney, you know, the actual movie. And it's another movie that I don't really hear a lot of people talking, but it's a short film. So I recommend this movie because it's a little funny, and like I said, it's Pinocchio's first Christmas, and so he gets a gift from Geppetto, and it's an arithmetic book, but he doesn't have any gift money. So what he does is that he actually sells the book in exchange for present money. But on his way, he gets stopped by Cat and Fox, and of course they put like bad ideas in his mind, and then stuff happens like always with Pinocchio, and it's just a really nice film to watch. The Star is probably the only movie that has came out that has been portrayed from the lens of the animals. So this movie is told from the animals' point of view, and when I say animals, I mean the animals that were from the actual Christmas day, so the birth of baby Jesus. And this movie is really funny and it has a nice message. This movie made me laugh so much. And it's about a donkey named Bo. He is bound to a village mill, grinding all day, but he escapes, and when he escapes, he crosses pathways with Joseph and Mary. So he later finds out some things, and he has to save Mary and Joseph from this bad guy, that they want to kill. Obviously, you know the story, that they want to kill Mary and baby Jesus before he is born, and then they escape, and they escape to Bethlehem. And so it's just really nice. It's really funny because of all the characters. It does include the 3 camels from the 3 wise kings, so it's just really funny, and I recommend this movie so much. So Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, you probably already know about it. You probably know the song. So I'm not going to say anything in depth about it. But I really love the ones with the claymation, not the animated one, the claymation one. And I just love all the songs. And I think that's all I'm going to say about it. I mean, you've seen it. You probably know what it's about. So I recommend that movie, obviously. So Frosty's Winter Wonderland, I really love this movie. I don't hate the original Frosty the Snowman movie, but I love this one much more. And it's a short film as well, and it's about Frosty. He comes back, but he's feeling lonely, so the kids build a snow woman for him, and they call her Crystal. And it's just really cute because she comes alive, and then they want to get married. But then Jack Frost, who's portrayed mean in this movie, he is kind of jealous because the kids and all the attention is always on Frosty and now his wife. So he tries to do like a lot of stuff so they won't get married. But at the end, something happens, and it's just really nice. And it's actually the song Winter Wonderland. And it's just really, really funny, and it's a nice movie, so I just recommend it. So another classic for me since I was a little girl is Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas. It's called, Once Upon a Christmas. I just call it a Christmas Mickey movies. So it is a bunch of little small short movies that are bunched together, and so it has the squirrels, it has Minnie, Mickey, of course Donald, and his little nephews. And I just love this movie so much. I love all of this movie. Probably getting tired of me saying that, but it's really, really true. I love watching these every year, and they are really cute, and each story has a nice message, especially the one with Minnie and Mickey, that they don't have any money to gift each other anything, but they are willing to sacrifice a special thing for each of them to gift each other. And it's just kind of sad, but it's really nice, so I do recommend them if you haven't watched it. And they do have it on Netflix. Okay, so I had to go see my son because he got up from his nap, and then I also have to turn on these lights, my regular lights, because it's getting darker outside, and I was using natural lighting before. So that's just like if you see the lighting a little different. So the next movie is How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and the one I am referring to is the one with Jim Carrey acting as the Grinch. He does a wonderful, stupendous job of portraying the Grinch character. He is hilarious. And I don't really like the cartoonish one. I don't know, I just find it boring, and I don't like the new one as much. I mean, it's nice, but I even prefer the narrator in this movie. He does a wonderful job. His voice is perfect, to narrate the story in comparison to the one that they used for the new movie. Just compare both of them and you'll see what I'm talking about. But it's really funny, And if you haven't watched it, watch the one I'm talking about. I know you're gonna like it. So everybody knows what it's about. It's about the Grinch. He hates Christmas, so he plans on going to Whoville on Christmas Eve to steal all the Christmas lights, the gifts, the Christmas trees, even the food. And something happens, and he meets a little girl, and I don't want to spoil the end if you haven't watched this movie. Probably everybody watched this movie by now, but so I do recommend that one in specific. Just thinking about this movie makes me smile because this movie is so funny, so hilarious, and I recommend this movie so much. If you do not watch any of the movies that I have mentioned, please watch at least this one. You are gonna love it. It is an underrated movie for some reason. I don't know why, but I just love this movie so much. Sorry if you hear my nephews and my son, they are playing around in the background, but this movie is about this brother and sister that they are traveling to Pennsylvania on a flight to go visit their dad for Christmas, right? But a blizzard happens, so they are stuck in the airport now, but they are unaccompanied minors. Of course, that's what the title of the movie is, but they get thrown into this room with all of the other unaccompanied minors, and they find a way to escape because it's like a jungle in there, right? But the supervisor or the head of the airport hates Christmas, so he's basically a Scrooge, and he was supposed to travel to Hawaii, I believe, for Christmas, but again, flights got canceled, so now he is stuck in the airport. And like I said, he hates Christmas, and he is really pissed off, obviously, that he has to stay there now. But these kids escape, and they go on an adventure. They start going into different stores, and they go into a lot of mischief, and it is so funny. And so basically at the end, they find a way to make Christmas happen in the airport for everyone. And it's just so funny. And the kids that act in these movies, in this movie, they are amazing. It's just watch it. Just watch it. Okay, so the first adult Christmas movie that I'm going to be talking about is Four Christmases. So if you haven't watched this movie, I'll just give you a quick summary. So Four Christmases is about a couple that they do not visit their families. So like the mom and dad on each side of each other's family at all. Especially not on Christmas. So they always come up with an excuse, or they make up that they are doing charity, far away in another country. So this time around, it is Christmas again, so they are traveling to Fiji, I believe. But then when they're on their way to the airport, they are from San Francisco, and you know how the fog thing, they have like a fog problem over there, so that's what happens, and their flight gets canceled. But they come on TV, being interviewed by the news channel, so their families find out that they cannot travel for Christmas. So now, guess what? They have to go visit the four families. That's why it's called Four Christmases. And these people, like, their families are, like, crazy. Like, the relatives are crazy, and just stuff happens. And this movie is really, really funny. So, again, it's, like, an adult movie, and I just recommend it. Okay, so Queen Latifah acts as the main character protagonist in this movie, and honestly, any movie that she is in, I love. I don't know why, but she's just really, really nice. And so, basically, she discovers that she has a really bad illness, so she is going to die very soon, right? So, she has lived a very cautious life, so you know what? She says, I am leaving, I don't care, I am gonna buy a ticket, and she leaves to Europe, right? So she decides to live her last days as a millionaire. So it's just about that, how she likes to go on a little adventure before she dies, and it's just really sad at the same time, but you kind of feel happy for her at the same time because she gets to live the life that she has stopped herself from living, you know, because of life. And yeah, it's just really nice, and I really recommend this movie. Okay, so we are now at the end of this video. This is the last movie that I'm gonna be talking about, and it is the Netflix one that I had said in the beginning. So this one is called The Christmas Chronicles. If you haven't watched it already, I recommend it. I've probably watched it 3 times already, but I already know that this movie is gonna be one of my favorites from, you know, from time to time. And I will probably be seeing this movie every year if it stays on Netflix. So this movie is so funny, so hilarious, and it is on point. It is very, what would it, actual? That's like Spanish, actual. It is very on point with what's going on now, like with the trends, with, you know, how everybody's vlogging everything, how something becomes viral and all this, and, you know, with social media and all that stuff. So it's about this brother and sister. Their dad passed away, and the dad loved Christmas, but after the dad passed away, the son, you know how it usually happens, they get like in a bad mood, they hate Christmas, like they become rebellious. And the mom is always working. Of course, she's a single mom now, and the little girl, she stays true to her heart. She loves Christmas, and so on Christmas Eve, she plans to spy on Santa. So she puts her little camera, and she does get a glimpse of Santa Claus. So they run after him, and she's like vlogging all of this. And so they go into Santa's sleigh, and they cause a lot of trouble, a lot of trouble. But this movie is really, really funny, and it made me laugh so much. Honestly, it did. And it is so true. Like, whoever made the lines for this movie, like, A+, because honestly, it is so realistic in the in the sense that whatever she said when she saw Santa, whatever she said when she saw the reindeers, is what I would have said. Like, it would be my exact words, my reactions. It's just, I love this movie so much, and so I recommend it. And I think that is it. That's all I want to say. So thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. If I didn't mention one of your favorite movies, I would really, really love to know. So leave it down in the comment box, and I will be glad to watch it. And so thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you in the next video. Subscribe. Love you guys. Bye.